what we're going to do by popular demand. We're going to go into the Claude ecosystem a lot more today, specifically around Cowork. I'm going to also talk about the newest, hottest thing called Claudebot right now. If you're not a big Claude user at the moment, and you're using mainly ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever, that's okay. That's good to understand all these aspects. Personally, I have been spending, I'd say, the majority of my time in AI in the Claude ecosystem, just because they're starting to leap heads and tails above everybody else. And so I would say that the Claude ecosystem and the Google Gemini ecosystem are the two that I'm spending the most time on. I still, like, you guys hear me talk about GenSpark and Manus and stuff. I still use those constantly. But as I'm going deeper into the tech, I'm going to the main platforms to really understand what's possible, because the innovations are coming at a rapid pace. Today's session will be I'm not a full-blown expert to where I want to be in some of the stuff I'm going to talk about. I am learning as I go, but over the past couple of weeks, I've been learning quite a bit. All weekend, this past weekend, I probably didn't see the light of day. I was just in here on my computer playing with the Claude space. And so I'm going to show you some of the stuff I've been doing. I put together some little AI-assisted presentations to help you guys understand it. But before I do that, can I get a show of hands or in the chat, either who has been not using Claude at all, or has anybody used Claude Cowork yet? Is anybody got a hand raiser, or is this brand new to everybody? If it's brand new, you're going to love it. All right, it looks like it's brand new. Anybody who's off camera, if you're raising your hand, I can't see you. I know, Bud, you're using it, so that's great. Okay, I'm going to share my screen here in a moment. I'm going to try to do a good job of giving you guys a non-discombobulated presentation of what this stuff will do. But I want to ask for your permission. Okay, Claude Cowork. I'm going to show you the way this looks. This is the Claude app. Once more, Claude AI is the normal chat version that everybody can use. You can use it online. This is the Claude Mac app, and you just download it. If you've got the account, you can start to use it. I personally, none of this is available in the free plan. I was on the pro plan, $20 a month. I upgraded to the max plan so I can get more out of Cowork and Claude Code, etc. So I do believe that these will work on the pro plan. But once you have these installed, you'll see the things up here. Code, I'm not going to really go into today. Just as if you want to vibe code and do some stuff, Cowork can do this for you. And this is the main intersection. Yeah, Josh, did you have your hand up for something?
I did. Can you access any of this through Galaxy.ai, or do you need to be direct on Claude?
No, it has to be Claude. Yep. So
Thanks.
now you can access Claude Chat on Galaxy, but not Claude Cowork. So Cowork is their internal thing. So what Claude Cowork looks like is this. It looks very similar, but there are some really big differences in the way this works. And I'm going to back up over here and take you through it. So I put together some AI-assisted presentations. And also to show you the way I do this, this is my my Notebook LM in Google. Every time I find a great article about Claude Cowork, Claude Code, Claudebot, etc., I'm just dropping it in here. This is all the really good stuff. And then I'm creating a lot of my own ways to learn from this inside this. And so I've created a couple little micro presentations here. I'm going to go through this briefly. But so the standard chatbot, like standard AI, is isolated in the cloud, just like ChatGPT, anything you're using. Claude Cowork is an agent. It exists on your computer. It has hands. It can actually do things. It can read local files, click browser buttons, save your work directly to your drive. So like it says, it closes the loop between thinking and doing. And I fully believe that 2026 is the year of agents. Things that can actually do stuff without you needing to be the one who is constantly do this, copy paste, do this, copy paste. So it's a tool, an interface available. I know it's on Mac. I do not know if they've opened this up to Windows yet. If anybody else knows, please let me know. I know at the time that I created this, it was not on Windows, but it's very user-friendly. It can operate in a safe, containerized environment. And I'll show you what this means, but it means you're not just giving it access to your entire computer to say, here, go do what you want. Because there are safety concerns with any of these agentic AI tools. You just give it control of your computer and it can do anything. but Claude can work in a walled garden. Now, and once more, down here, they may have opened it up to Pro before it was only open up to Max, which is like the $100 a month one. I do not know if they've changed that. So how your new employee thinks, and you want to think of this to a degree as a new employee. So you can plan what to do. It can go out and act. It can come back to you and ask if this was correct, and then it can move on to the next step. It can create sub-agents. So if you have a complex task, I'll talk about this, it can go out and do other things in parallel for you. And once in a while, I'm going to show you some examples of things that I've done with it. The first thing that basically damn near everybody does is they create their digital janitor, because it's got access to your files. And you can say, go into my downloads folder, take all the images, screenshots, put them into a new images folder organized by month, right? Or with mine, in my downloads folder on my Mac, I had in the past no folders in there whatsoever. It was just a ton of files like this. And I just said, get in there and organize it. And so what it did is it read through all these hundreds of files I had. These are what I've added in the past, I don't know, couple days. So it found stuff. Let's put stuff in the apps folder. Let's put stuff in the data folder. Let's put stuff in media. So it read what the files were. It decided what category they should be in. It created the folders and it moved all those files into the folder automatically. And it took about 2 minutes to do. So digital janitor cleaned my crap up is probably the first thing that most people do. Automated slide deck creation. Now, there are overlaps in what normal Claude or any of these things can do versus this. I'll get to where this is really useful. But you could say, create a pitch deck for this product, include this, and it'll just go out and it'll create it for you. Technically, you could do it in normal Claude, but in this case, you could have it actually save it to your computer, save the file, as opposed to just put it in chat and let me do something else. Financial analyst, same thing. Read this credit card statement, extract all subscriptions, create a CSV file listing this, and then guide me on which ones to cancel. It can create Excel files. Like once more, a file on your computer that you've got, you can give it access to that file folder or that file and say, here, go in here, do this. And it just goes in as if it's an employee with its own hands and brains, and it makes the changes. Doesn't need to use a browser for that. You don't need to upload something else. The browser operator. This is one of the things I like. I'm going to show you something I did this morning. I was like, wow, damn, that worked. It can operate in your browser. I think right now it needs to be a Chrome plugin. So there's a little Chrome plugin for Claude to where if I were to click it, it opens this up. I can start to talk to it and it can take over my browser and do things, which as I said, I'll show you for you. But you can say, watch and learn. You can even record a workflow once. Claude learns to repeat it automatically. So some of you guys may have done it on like in Loom or whatever, where you send this to your assistant or somebody else. Now you can technically record what you're doing and have it learn from you. It's got live web access, so it can go out, do live search, gather information, come in here, process it, and then create a document for you. Now, the way it works really is through, I'm looking to see here real quick. The way it works, this is the big thing to wrap your head around. It works with file folders on your computer, right? In the world of, and by the way, if you guys are throwing stuff in the chat, questions, I'm not watching that. Lauren, can you please do me a favor? And if anything relevant to what I'm talking about comes up immediately and I need to be interrupted, just interrupt me. Otherwise, I'll get to those questions later. So the big thing to wrap your mind around, and this takes most people a minute, is how it operates with files, because files are the real brains of this. Now, if I'm just using Claude, ChatGPT, or whatever, there's two types of memory. One of them is the general memory it has about you. So I can go into Claude Chat and just say, tell me what you know about me. And it knows my preferences. It knows a bunch of stuff that it's picked up here and there. And if I'm in a chat, it knows what's going on in the chat. With this whole file folder structure thing, it builds a file. I'll show you how it starts off here. So what happens is you see this is like my Claude folder. So my Claude Cowork has access to these, right? And it builds them. It builds them from day one. Once you install it, it'll say, all right, this is your Claude README file. So it's who it is, how it is, etc. Think of all this as like custom GPT instructions behind the scenes. But what's cool is whenever you ask it to go do something, it will first go into your files and it will read, all right, what are Brad's preferences for this? How does he like to do it? What are his templates? What are his skills? What's his background? And then if as I'm typing to it, if I correct it, it will learn from this and it'll go and it'll write new information to these files that are stored on my machine or technically in the cloud. And so it has this persistent memory that can last forever and it can be infinite, but you can actually read everything it has and you can take this memory with you. So the better of a profile it builds on you, the better your stuff gets. And this was the default folder. Mine actually looks like this, and because I've been creating stuff in it, but you can see these are files. Let me see if this opens up. So this is what happened yesterday. Memory search enabled this. So it's keeping track of everything that happened, right? Here's what we did. If I go into skills, like I've given it different skills, like I want you to be able to build a custom GPT for me, right? So it should have a skill in here. Where did we go? So here's the skill. All right, so I'm giving it, these are the superpowers. Here's who you are. Here's what you can do. Here's my template for this. And my knowledge base, projects. So I've got this one project I'm working on. So it brings this in. It starts to understand it. Okay, what it is, URL, security work done, files changed. So it keeps a log of every single thing it did. And when you start to really understand this, you start to understand how powerful it is because now it becomes our prerogative to go in and build out our profiles, our preferences, our skill sets, the projects we're working on. Because once more, it can read those and write to them. And these can be used in a lot of different other areas, not just inside Claude. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the file folders before I pause and ask some questions. I created two little things here. So once you get in here, let me see where my file folders piece is. So yeah, the brain. So your main thing, Claude MD, this is basically these persistent instructions that always work. It's a markdown folder in your root, and it says like always format dates like this. Never delete without asking. So this is your overarching rule set of how Claude Cowork needs to operate. But then it's got a short-term memory, right? It maintains state of the current task, even if you close the app, and it can pick up where you left off by reading the logs that it stored locally. So if you guys have ever been working inside a big chat and you go, man, this thing forgot what I was talking about, that's a thing of the past. And then there's the sub agents. So the main agent doesn't necessarily do anything because it can spin up its own invisible workers to handle tasks in parallel. One scrapes the web, one formats JSON, one does this, one does that. So when you can give it a complex task, tell it to go to work, and it's like, I got you, bro. Right? That's how it comes back in my mind. That's what Claude says. I got you, bro. Once more, workflow demos. These are fairly basic. I just put them together, but I'm going to show you some real use cases here. Do I have any questions? I know I'm covering a lot and I'm going quickly, but the main things I've covered so far is that yes, it can do things. It's an agent. It can do things for you as you, and it works with these file folders on your machine that serve as both instructions and a log, etc. Like those are the two main things I've covered. Do I have any real specific questions about that? Franco says, can I generate multiple agents that run at the same time? I don't know. You can have an agent and then these sub agents that do a similar thing. I don't think you can just run like a complete task here, a complete task here. You might be able to. I have not tried that yet. Melanie said I was going to try to clean up my desktop, but I heard it can be hacked. So yes, there are always security issues. Claude Cowork is fairly secure on this stuff, but you can also just give it access to, you can all like when I'm working in here, I can say work in a folder. So I can go in here and I can say just, right, allow it to change files here. So I'm only allowing it right now to change files in my folder. I can tell it to create a file, crunch data, make a prototype, draft a message. But in here, I'm just going to say organize my downloads files by category. That's all I'm going to do. Or do whatever you think is best. You're smarter than me. Okay, so now I'm going to do this. Now I'm going to open up this, and we may even see stuff happen as it does things. Let's see. So once more, it's working in that folder. It's coming over here. It's thinking. I don't know how this usually doesn't take very long. I see you've got a mix of about these. Let me ask you a quick question. How would you like me to organize them? By file type recommended. Let's just do recommended. I just type one. This is maybe the least exciting part of what it does, but it's what everybody does in the beginning to wrap your head around this. And then I'll show you some stuff that I was hitting up Laura and I'm like, holy crap, look what it did. So here we go, using to do. So you can see what's happening. You can even view the steps as you go. I don't want to spend too much time just sitting here waiting, but it should be. It did say something failed. It doesn't say why. Hopefully this doesn't. I'm keep on seeing failed stuff, but it seems the files don't exist anymore. There's something wrong with the paths. So it'll continue to go in here and see if it can fix itself. That's one of the things I really like. It even says, interesting, only one screenshot file exists now. I think I chose the right folder, but unless it just created those. Date added. Look, okay, it's creating these right now. So it's actually doing things on here. It's talking itself through. So once more, this is one of the agentic aspects to this. And I want to leave off this while it's doing this, but I don't want to leave off this yet. I don't want to mess anything up. And I do wonder if I were to go over here. But it says what it's doing. It says the working folder. Oh, wait, there we go. Look, my downloads folder. So it just cleaned things up according to what it thinks now, if I like that or not. But look, spreadsheets, it put spreadsheets in here. Videos, any videos, it put it here. Any PDFs, it put it here. Right? Is this useful to anybody? Like, you guys think that anybody have a disorganized folder? So all you have to do is you just go down, you give it access to the folder you want, you can go clean this mofo up. All right, now, let me show you some other cool stuff of what I've done with it. And let me know if you guys have any questions. I'm just looking in here. Windows users have to wait till mid-2026. All right, go get a Mac, Walter. Does Claude Agent connect to Notebook LM? What is the best place to build the database for it? I've never tried to connect it to Notebook LM, but I will show you how it can. And that is going to get to the next piece, which is how it uses the browser. By the way, I'm going to also give you these other resources. These are available from Claude support. This is a short article about how to get started with it and then how to use it safely. So Melanie, like you mentioned, this is understanding the risks, how to minimize the risks, how to protect yourself, etc. So these are going to be in the show notes. I asked Grok real quick before I share some other stuff. I'm like, on X, list a bunch of things that people are doing with Cowork. So it's saying organize file folders, turn receipt screenshots into expense reports, create presentation decks, automate browser-based research and actions, extraction and analysis across files. So pull insights from multiple CSVs, PDFs, and images. So you can, if you have a file folder with a bunch of stuff, you no longer have to upload all that stuff. You just say, go to this file folder on my computer and do the things I want you to do. Okay, so this might also be, I think what, Franco, you may have been asking this, or no, this is Gerardo. No, this was Franco. Parallel task queuing. Queue multiple independent jobs, like organize files, research competitors, and draft report. Let them run simultaneously in the background. So yes, it can do that. which is pretty cool. I did not know that. All right. Getting back over here. We're done. Here's what it did. Okay. So now let me show you what I was showing to Lauren. I'm like, oh my God, Lauren, check this out. Here's my Slack with Lauren. I was like, watch this. This is a 30-second clip. Hopefully you guys can hear this. Hold on. Can you guys hear me talking on that? Lessons. This is a tech. Let me stop. I'll share with audio on. I didn't have that before. So I just tested this out and I'll show you exactly how I did it. This is my Go High Level account. So I just had my browser open and I told it, where is my GHL one? Okay, confirm you have access to this. It was in here somewhere, but in essence, what I did is I said, hey, I have a browser tab open in my Go High Level account. I want you to take control and create a new membership course called Tools and set up a single module with 2 blank lessons. This is a test. So here I am. I'm using my phone to showcase what I'm showing Lauren. So I'm using Claude Cowork over here, not Claudebot, but Claude Cowork. So over here, it attaches to it's a thing and it has browser control. So I said, go in here and create a new membership site called Tools and set up a single module with 2 blank lessons. This is a test. And right now, it's doing this, which is interesting. We'll see where it gets. But yeah, it's taking control of my browser and it's doing the things. Pretty crazy. I'm not touching anything. All right, so it did that. And then 2 minutes later, it's done. I created a new product, a new membership in here. I added a module and I added 2 blank lessons. The course now lives in here, blah, blah, blah. Like you can now rename it, or what else do you want me to do? So without me training it, right? These language models know how to use all these programs. And if it doesn't, it figures the crap out. So I was like, wow, okay, that's pretty cool. And I just did something this morning too. I said, I created a new system prompt for a new custom GPT I'm building. And some of you guys have heard about a program I've recommended and used if you like to build your own GPTs called Pickaxe. All right, so Pickaxe lets you build custom GPTs and then actually embed them anywhere, put a membership behind them, etc. And so what I did is I went in here this morning. Was it this morning or yesterday? And I said this. Okay, I uploaded my system prompt and the knowledge base. And I just said, go to this page. I actually put the page in somewhere else, but I said, go to this page, Pickaxe, and build a new pickaxe in the Accelerated Intelligence Studio called AHA. I've uploaded the system prompt, etc. Create a simple configuration, go through the setup wizard and publish it. Don't ask me questions, just do the best you can. And what I did is I put in my username and password here. I just gave it to it. And that's why it's not showing it, because like behind the scenes, it keeps that in my own little files, but it's not showing it in the chat. So it says, okay, great. Let me do this. Boom, boom. Okay, this is all it. And it says, all right, I created it. Here's the name. Here's the profile image. Here's the studio. Here's what's up. Here's what I've created. It's now live and ready to use. So I go in here. It created this. If I go into edit the pickaxe, it created it. It added a name. It put my system prompt in here. It put my knowledge base in here. It turned it on. And basically it's ready to go. Technically it's ready to go, but what I would want to do is I would want to come in here and then just finalize it. But so think about this. Technically what I could do, and this is one of the things I plan on doing, because I've got a bunch of GPTs I'm planning on building. Let's just say I've got 10 files, like 10 system prompts for 10 GPTs. And once more, Claude Cowork has the skills from me. I've given it the skills on how I like to build GPTs, how I like to do all this other stuff, how I like to build pickaxes. So I've got the system prompts for all 10. I could go in here and I could say, listen, go into Cowork, create 10 new pickaxes. Each one of these is the thing for this. Go create them all and let me know when you're done. Now, it may do them sequentially in one browser, or it may just go in and open up 10 different browsers and do them all simultaneously. I'll let you know when I find out when I run that thing. But if you really let this sink in that, wow, this really is a smart employee who, if you give them really explicit instructions and the tools to do what they need, they can do that. Sometimes that's an API into another program, which I've given it. And sometimes it's just use my browser, go here and do that. All right, I'm going to pause for some questions because there may be a lot, and I'm throwing a lot of stuff at you. I'm trying to not keep it overly complex and nerdy, but this stuff is fairly cutting edge. And this is where everything's going. So do I have any hands up questions or in the chat?
I have one since I'm operations going over to ClickUp. I'm assuming it's the same mentality with it. You can just tell Cowork, use my browser or the ClickUp app, open the ClickUp app and register, understand how we do our project templates, because we use waterfall project management and they all have a very specific due date based on when the product launch is. And we have very solid templates, but the dates and dependencies still need to be created. And we just haven't found that ClickUp's automation tools, they also have super agents now, which I'm not super impressed with, aren't exactly getting us all the way there. Could we use Cowork to tap into ClickUp, understand our templates, and like manipulate dates, due dates, any fields in ClickUp?
Most likely. So I don't use ClickUp anymore. I used to years ago, but I'm not been using the AI aspects. But yes, if it technically, most stuff, there are every once in a while, there's some things that it'll run into an issue where it can't do, and it'll say, hey, this has prevented a bot from crawling this or whatnot. So I've hit a couple little snags in functionality sometimes, but oftentimes it'll come back and tell me where it's stuck, and then I'll go fix it. But yes, it can take over a browser. So for instance, I'm just going to show you, let's have a little bit of fun and try this out. All right, I'm going to open this up. I actually don't know exactly how much information I have to give it, but let me show you this. All right, if I click on here, now I can start in Cowork. If I start in Cowork, it's probably going to end up, where did that go? Oh, it pulled me over here. Hold on. All right. Actually, I'm going to show you this in a second. I'm going to get to the other questions first. Melanie, you go, and then Franco, before I show you some of this browser work.
Okay, yeah, a couple questions. It looked like you had in there that it also connects to your Google Drive. Like you'd say, clean up my Google Drive and do the same thing you did on your computer. It'll organize all your files and put them into folders.
Yeah, so over here, I had to give it access. I was having an issue here. Are you able to read my Google Drive? And let me just see. Do you have access to my Google Drive? And it says, no, I don't. So if you have the Google Drive desktop app installed, you can select that folder on your computer. So it's when I'm starting off, I can go click that Google Drive when I'm starting, and I can just say, take this, or it can use browser automation. I have access to Claude and Chrome, which means I could navigate to Google Drive in a browser and help you with the tasks here, or you can just upload files directly. And then I was like, yeah, so I wasn't able to just get it to connect perfectly to my Google Drive. Oh, here, connect. But once more, yes, it can do it. Because if I'm doing a new task down here and I just say work in a folder, I just choose, this is Google Drive, right? So I go to my drive. This is so I could do that and I could say, boom, now you're working in my drive, go do some things. So that's one of the ways you connect to it.
I don't know if mine is there. Okay. And then in Go High Level, have you monkeyed around? Can it create workflows in there for you? Can it create a landing page? What are you?
So two things about Go High Level. So yes, like I was showing you, the only thing I tested is it went in there and it created my membership course. It went in and it was like, all right, let me go here. It went to the browser, just like this, and it says, let me do it. That being said, inside Go High Level, they also have two things, which are, one's coming up in a month, but like in automations, like they already have an AI agents thing in here, but like I can go to automations, and this is what I would technically use for this, is I can say build using AI. So I just tell it what I want it to do, and the AI internally to Go High Level will build your automation for you. The next thing is that, and they have other AI features, but I just sent this to Lauren the other day. I was like, hey, look at this feature is launching in February. So Go High Level says, funnel and website AI marks a massive leap forward in how you build and optimize funnels and websites. It's your intelligent chatbot inside there capable of handling anything you ask for, whether you're designing from scratch, cloning a site, or optimizing SEO. You can assist and build modes.
Wow.
Choose between guided assistance, or let AI fully build a funnel from your vision. Clone any site, recreate any website, just provide us a URL or even a screenshot. And then bulk edits via chat. Instantly make sweeping design changes or content changes across all pages using natural language. So this is launching in about a month.
So we want to do a free plus shipping model, and I could just take somebody who already has a like a Russell Brunson or somebody's free plus shipping model that works and have them clone and then just put the new content in there.
Yes. In fact, there's for any of you guys using Go High Level, there is a website called supercloner.app. Remind me to put this supercloner.app. So it only works with Go High Level funnel pages and websites right now. I can't clone anybody's. But what you do is you pay, if you want 2 pages or whatever, you're basically paying $25. It gives you a little icon over here called Super Cloner. I don't have it installed in this browser. I have it in another one. But basically, if you go to my funnel page and it's built in Go High Level, you can click a button and it'll clone that page into your Go High Level account so you can go edit it and do whatever you want. But that happens right now, called supercloner.app. So, it costs about $12 to $25 per clone. All right, Franco, what you got? You're on mute.
There you go. So I have a couple of questions. The first one, I'm really used to work with ChatGPT unlimitedly, right? There is no credit or
Claude
usage
limits, yeah,
limit
I
or
know where
something.
you're going. Claude
Yeah.
limits, it's a pain in the butt. And
Okay.
I actually ran up against some rate limiting stuff today because I had this thing going like crazy. So yes, it's a thing. It's also why I upgraded to the $100 a month version of this. So it's a thing though with Claude. It's a pain in the butt, but it is what it is right now because it's the most
Yeah.
powerful system there.
Okay. It happened to me with GenSpark yesterday. I was so happy working, and later, oh, you exceeded your limit. And I was like,
Yeah, so I
and
have
the
to always come in here and look at my usage limits and what's going on. And so far I'm so good, but it's a thing.
yeah.
So,
And my second question was, when you work in a browser, can it access multiple tabs or just the
yeah,
tab where you open it?
now I believe so. So watch. I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna try something really interesting. We'll just see how this works. So I want you to start off by using Gemini and give it a command to create a landing page for a product that sells a course on how to learn Claude Cowork. I want you to use Canvas and have it render the code. Then I want you to go to my Go High Level tab. It's already open and open to the sublocation called Accelerated Intelligence. And then I want you to go to sites and create a new funnel in the sandbox folder. And I want you to create a new blank page, add a code block there, and then copy the code from Gemini into the Go High Level page and save it. All right, so I just told somebody what I would have them do, which is create a page here, go over here, open this up, and create it. Let's see what this can do. Assuming I'm not hit my rate limit thing like I was getting these errors with before. So it says, here's the plan. Let's approve it. And now let's see what happens. Now this may take longer than we've got, but this is interesting to see what it can and cannot do. So to tell you, I'm generating the page. Here we go. So I'm not typing any of this, right? I'm just watching it.
And it takes control of the tabs, so you cannot go and do other thing in your Chrome while this is working, right?
No, I totally can. So you see right here, this is a tab group. So Claude, this is the Claude Cowork is in here. So because it's in this, that means I can come over here and I can do whatever the heck I want. So I can just go back. I often take this out and I just put it on one of my other screens and let it do what it needs to do.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so let's see. Because then what it should do, if this is correct, if this works, because once more, I'm fairly new to some of this stuff. And by the way, was it Bud who's in here or one of Josh's friends? If you have any cool things that you want to, are you still here? He may have left.
He had to bail, but he'll be coming back in a bit.
Cool. Because I was going to say, if he's been doing some other cool stuff that is even beyond what I've been doing, I was going to open it up for him. So, all right, so here it's creating the code. I scrolled down, so I can go around the page. I'm just not stopping Claude. Let's just see. Okay, it's almost got the page done. Okay, so now this piece is done. This is one of those cool things in Gemini too, that like this, I guess this is part of the whole AEO stuff, is you notice like it told me what to do. And then it said for a more in-depth thing, look at this guy. This is a guy I know, Alex Finn. Look at his. So imagine that you put really good tutorials on how to do something. Like really think about this. If you put a tutorial on how to do something and it's really good and and I don't know what if it has to be the #1 ranked video or what it looks at, but it's coming here. And now people, let's say I didn't know who this guy was, I might be discovering him for the first time. So imagine it's not giving me a bunch of stuff. It's giving your stuff. And I'm like, oh, wow, I want to go see what Brad Costanzo had to say about this. So think about anything that ties to what your customers are asking. Create the definitive how-to video to do something. Because if people are in Gemini, they're asking how to do this, it might just recommend your stuff to them. Okay, so now what it's saying, what's more, this goes a little slow, but look, what is it doing? I'm extracting the code from the HTML block. Here's what I'm doing. And then it takes a little longer than a human would do it, but I could walk away from this, come back, and then I believe what will happen, and we'll see it in a minute. Okay, see, I do have to do this. Google wants to do that. Every once in a while, you get hung up on a thing you have to do. By the way, if you guys think this is cool, like in a minute, I'm going to show you the next evolution of this to really nerd out. All right, look, it just opened up its own browser. I said, get tabs, create a new tab. Let's see what it does. Let's watch it. It's on the agency because I have sub accounts. Let's see if I told it to go to the sub account called Accelerated Intelligence. Now, what's cool about what I'm doing is if you have a set of preferences for building this, in essence, think about this as a skill or a template that you would put in your file folder. So you might say, whenever you're building a new landing page inside Go High Level, always include these tracking codes on the publishing page. Always use this file for the logo. Always use this. So if you give it the SOP for how you would normally do it, now it's got your skill sets. I let this be open up and wild. But yeah, the more you can document your ideal preferences, the exact same way you would give to an employee, the better this can be. So just open this up. Now in a moment, it should come down here to sites, and that's what we're looking for it to click on. Yep. Now it should look for, I know what my instructions were. I said, go to Sandbox. That's my little testing folder. Ideally, it will click in here and search for Sandbox, but we'll see. I can always come back over here and see if it gets stuck. But I think you guys are kind of getting the point of what it's doing. But Wow. Okay. While it's doing this, I'm going to take a look at a couple things and show you a couple other little aspects of Cowork. Yeah, you can give it access. And if you guys do any coding or whatever, you can connect things to this, such as GitHub and all this other stuff. So I've got my GitHub connected. So technically, if I was going to use code and I was going to come in here and I was going to say, I want you to code a project, code a new web app in Claude Code, push this to my GitHub or whatever. So GitHub is a repository for code for coders. Push this over here and then deploy it on this. It can do all that stuff for you. And I'm going to show you one version of how I tested this and it worked. Oh, look, it's working. It went to Sandbox. It found it. It's creating it. So I'm going to stop it because it's going to be using a lot of my tokens and stuff because I think you guys get the point of what it can do. Okay, so Claude Cowork as a summary, it's agentic. It can actually do things for you. It works in file folders, which are really important. The file folders it uses, not only does it pull from, I'm going to look for where that was. Not only does it pull from it to learn, but then it writes to it to remember. Okay. You can have it create new folders. You can have it figure stuff out. Whole bunch of stuff you can do with this. Here's memory. This is what it's memorizing about me. Here's my time zone. Here's my communication style. I'm not a coder, explain in plain language, skip technical jargon. When I was having a conversation, I told it that before. I was like, listen, remember this about me. All right, cool. Set up infrastructure, GitHub context. Brad uses GitHub, but isn't a programmer. He builds apps via these things. Here's his key repos. Here's his ideas in progress. And I can go in so I can see, and you can see everything it knows about you, which is super duper powerful. People. I don't think anything's in my people one yet. Let's see. But I can create profiles. I can say, remember this about Lauren Peters. Here's who she is, blah, blah, blah. And she's in my people. So it becomes like almost like a little personal CRM for you. All right. Now let's, as what was it, Emerald Lagasse would say, now let's kick this up a notch. All right, Franco, what's your question before I kick it up a notch?
Is there any difference between using Opus versus Sonnet versus Haiku for this
Yes.
kind of activities?
Yes, and you can change the models you're using. You can even use Anthropic. You can use Gemini. You can use OpenAI. You can use DeepSeek. You don't have to use Claude's models for these, by the way. And it's cheaper if you don't. So when you go to set it up, you can change the model. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm talking about the other thing. In Cowork, I jumped ahead of myself. In Cowork, no, you're always using Claude, but you can change the model right here. So if I go to new chat, right down here. So I can go to Haiku, Sonnet, or Opus. So Opus is the smartest. It's the most expensive. But if you're doing really complex things, it becomes less expensive because it gets stuff right more so on the first shot. Sonnet might take 2 or 3 shots. So it's kind of like you get what you pay for. It ends up being cheaper in the long run. It's like hiring an A player versus a C player. But yeah, you can choose it here. Okay. The next thing I want to show you, because this is fairly, I'm going to give you guys all the instructions. And I recommend if you want to do this, get in it, play with it. You may have to upgrade. I don't think you need to have, you might be able to get it with the $20 a month pro version. You also don't need to do this. I know you guys are running businesses. It can be a shiny object, but if you're like one of those early adopters like me, you may want to get in here and play with it. This is tip of the spear, cutting edge, next level stuff. There's a little bit of risk here, but the way you can set it up is less risky. Has anybody been following it's called Claudebot, CLAWD on Twitter, etc. So Claudebot is very similar to Claude Cowork, but it gives Claude Cowork superpowers. This is open source. It was developed by another programmer. It was not developed by Anthropic. There is a degree of risk here, but it's been vetted. There are some security things, but there's ways to keep those. I'm getting ahead of you. So I'm going to show you here basically what it does. I created a new gem on here for Claudebot. Actually, okay. So Claudebot is a thing. I did not install this on my computer. Once more, forgive me for getting nerdy on you guys, but when you hear it, like it's a good thing to hear it because you're going to hear more about this program here going forward because it's the hottest thing in AI. So Claudebot basically does everything Cowork does and more, which makes it potentially more dangerous if you install it on your own computer. So what people have been doing, including myself, is I installed it on a free virtual private server on Amazon AWS. So Amazon AWS is a big cloud server, and I followed the instructions on how to set it up. I took it there and I installed it basically on its own little virtual computer, which means it does not have access to my computer. The reason I don't want it access to my computer is because if you give it access to your computer, it can do everything you can do on your computer agentically, which is cool and scary. Claudebot is, here we go. Cowork. Let me get down to where it's telling me what the big difference is. All right. Here we go. Cowork. Think of it as a consultant. Claudebot is a chief of staff. So Claude Cowork, I need to be sitting there. It's session-based. It lives only when the window is open. When I close the app, it goes to sleep. Claudebot is always on. It runs as a background process 24/7, even when you're asleep, if you want it to. That does not mean it's always running tasks. You have to give it a task, but it can run anywhere at any time. File access. With Cowork, which I talked about, I choose the files and folders, and it can only read, write, and move those ones within the specific folder you assign it. It's safe by design. File access for Claudebot is system-wide. It runs with your user permissions. It can access any file, log, or script that you can access, which is why you got to be careful putting it on your own computer. I don't recommend it. Memory. Project scoped. It remembers the context of the current task and folder. Memory on Claudebot is user scoped. It remembers you, maintains a persistent memory of you, your preferences, history, and life details. Claude Cowork, what we were talking about, waits for you to prompt it. Here's a file, organize it. Claudebot can be proactive. It has a heartbeat. You can message it from, I can message this from Slack or Telegram or WhatsApp, anywhere I'm at, and I can ask for things, it can do things, I can give it a big complex task, and it's like, I got you, boss. I'm gonna go do this stuff. The interface here is on a desktop. The interface here is typically on a messaging app. Best use case for Claude Cowork, deep work, document drafting, etc. Best use case for Claudebot, all of these things plus life management, reminders, server monitoring, quick Q&A while mobile. So it says here, use Cowork when you need to do a job. Take this folder of 50 messy PDFs, name them. Use Claudebot when you need to manage your life. Remind me to check the oven in 20 minutes. That's kind of a dumb one, but you can do it. Monitor my website and text me if monitor this competitor's website and text me if the price drops. So you could say, go here every single day, monitor it, tie in, and anytime something happens, send me a proactive message. So now, let me show you how this might work in reality because I've been using it. Keep in mind, I was showing you this folder structure. This is Claude Cowork and Claudebot are using the same folder structure here, right? There's a whole bunch of stuff in here. Don't get too lost. I didn't create these folders. It did. And it would create new stuff based on what it knows about me. Ooh, I said, hey, I want to start to keep a journal for you. It says, cool, let me create a journal folder. And then you can brain dump in here. All right, so I've been using it in two places, Telegram and Slack. I'm going to show you Telegram. So it's one chat. It gets to be one big, old, ugly, messy ass chat. But I'm going to show you what I did. I'm going to show you a couple examples of what I did. Okay. I did this before I went to bed the other night. I just said, build a peptide and supplement tracking app that lets me choose my medication and calculate the reconstituted dosage and syringe amount, and then lets me log the dose I take that day. 3 minutes later, and by the way, I had given it this information before. I was like, listen, I set up an account on a site called Netlify. Once more, this is getting nerdy. Netlify allows me to deploy live coded apps too, so the world can see it. So I had an account and I had already given it my API access. So that's important. I'm like, great, here's my API code. I'm going to get, so you guys don't copy it. Now it says, all right, I got your stuff confirmed. So what I can now do, I can deploy new sites directly, update existing sites, create sites from GitHub repos, manage domains, check deployment settings. You want to build an app? And I was like, sure, build this one. 3 minutes later, it said your peptide tracker app is live. And it's very basic, but it built this for me. Now, if I wanted to edit it, if I wanted to do anything, I could do it. But I just sat there going, holy crap, that's crazy. But just to give you an idea, once more, I was in bed, about to go to sleep, and I'm not at 6:23 a.m. The time zone's off, but I just said, here, go do this. And it's like, all right, I got you. I'm going to go do it. Now, something else I've done. I've connected it to my meta ads, right? So I gave it my API for my meta ads, and I asked it, hey, how do I give you access to meta? And it told me somewhere here what to do. And then I ran a test. What was my total ad spend in meta yesterday? And it says, blah, blah, blah. Oh, your meta ad spend yesterday was $500 with 22 purchases across 2 campaigns. This campaign did this. Here's how much, here's how many purchases, here's this. Would you like me to set up an automated daily meta ad spending tracking similar to the Stripe reports? And got off on doing some other stuff. But the other thing I had it do was I gave it an email address. I gave it its own email address, and I gave it the ability to log in. And I gave it a name called Claudia. So then I instructed her every morning. This one I think this one messed up because she pulled the wrong things, but I'll show you what. So when I was testing this yesterday, every day, every morning, I'll get something like this. Okay, $333 in revenue. This is wrong. There are Stripe fees. 17 orders, this and this. And now technically what I could do is I can go in and I can say, change this to where you go in and you pull all of my Stripe transactions, and then you pull my meta ads, and then give me a daily report that shows me how much I spent, how much I made, etc. Send it to me in Slack and an email or whatever. So all I have to do is give it access and tell it what to do. There is a guy, and by the way, raise a hand or drop a question. Otherwise, I'm going to be the Energizer Bunny just rattling this crap off for you guys. And if I'm overwhelming, you let me know. Those of you who came in late, I know I'm overwhelming you. This guy, Alex Finn, said, this is the guy whose YouTube thing pulled up. Every night, Claudebot builds me out new apps and ships more code without me asking. Let me blow this up. This is crazy. Feed this prompt into your Claudebot to get it to work more proactively. I am a one-man business. I work from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to sleep. I need an employee taking as much off my plate as possible. Please take everything you know about me and just do work you think would make my life easier or improve my business and make me money. Remember, it has a file on him. I want to wake up every morning and be like, wow, you got a lot done while I was sleeping. Don't be afraid to monitor my business and build things that you think would improve our workflow. Just create, I think this is like product requirements for me to review. Don't push anything live. I'll test and commit it. Every night I go to bed, build something cool I can test out. Before doing this prompt, brain dump everything about you and your business into Claudebot. Make sure it's aware not to commit code. Do not delete files. You can log into my ChatGPT Codex on my computer and ask Claudebot to use this to write code. It's basically the most proactive AI ever made. So like he says, he goes, I go to bed every night, and he does a lot of apps. He wakes up to a new app prototype build that might help him or help him sell. And he gave it carte blanche to ideate and create what it thinks would be a good idea. Minds should be exploding right now. If you're like me, it's wow, this is next level. If I look here in my bookmarks, a couple other things that was said. What was this one? How to make money while you sleep. Sell done-for-you research services. Claudebot can run your entire lead gen operation while you sleep. Tell it to, here's the workflow. Tell it to scrape LinkedIn, Reddit, and Twitter for people matching your ideal client profile. Have it research each prospect, company size, recent pain points, generate personal cold emails using that research, send follow-ups automatically on a schedule, and book calls on your calendar when somebody replies. Once more, this involves you giving it its own email address that it can use. And you know how hard that is? You set up an email on one side, and then you go into Claudebot in Slack or Telegram, and you say, here's your credentials, go do the things. Like, you now have an email. And so, for instance, I could go in here right now and say, send an email to Brad Costanzo, subject, hey, sexy, and then give him a compliment. Let's see if this works. Hopefully it will. Sometimes it takes a couple minutes, but that's one of the ways you can do this. Other ways, like once more, we're not here for business opportunities, but we're not here for business opportunities. Sell done for your outreach services. Build and sell micro SaaS products overnight. This is what Alex was saying. Before bed, describe what you want to build in plain English. Wake up to working code, test it, fix bugs through conversation, deploy and start selling. I'm not going to get that email because I ran into an issue with rate limiting. So something's going on with my account here. It's not fixing it. You're using this too much, I think is what it's saying. People have built Chrome extensions, simple web apps, Discord bots, etc. 3, content repurposing agency. Feed it a YouTube transcript, have it generate a Twitter thread version, a LinkedIn post, then write an article, then an email newsletter, then short form video scripts. Claudebot remembers your creator's voice and style. It learns the audience. It can schedule and post automatically. It can run while you sleep. And technically, if you give it the APIs for various things, let's say you've got an API for HeyGen. Let's say you've got an API for this, that, and the other. If you give it to it and you give it a linear process to say, every time you do this, go to this program and do this, go to this program and do this, go to this program and do this, and do it for me. So these capabilities are there, sometimes with some limits. But there's a whole lot of stuff that can be done. It can literally replace most human tasks like email management, calendar scheduling, travel booking, data entry, invoice generation, and a lot more. Okay. I have to pause, otherwise I'm going to lose my damn voice. And I've been throwing a lot of tech stuff at you. I want to remind you, and Franco, I'm going to get to you in a sec. I want to remind you that you do not have to go out and do this, but I encourage you to, at a minimum, play with Cowork if you like what I'm showing here and see what is possible, because this is where everything is going, is this AI with hands. That's the agentic thing. And you can start really small. Claudebot, the second thing I was showing you, where you access it via Telegram and Slack. If you're fairly technically savvy and you want to play with it, I'm going to share some show notes with you, some directions on how to just get started, how to install it. I cannot encourage you enough. Do not install this on your home, like Claudebot. That's the second one. Do not install it on your home computer. Install it either on a second computer you don't own or for free on an Amazon virtual private server. That's only if you want to get really nerdy. I spent all Saturday and Sunday playing with it so I could share this kind of stuff with you. But Franco, what you got?
So I was thinking this morning, and I want the updated expert advice on that. With all these tools and everything already, Manus and other different tools, how would you become an expert in a topic in the shortest amount of time? How do you know how to research for the sources? I know that you probably are going to say, put it in Notebook LM, all those sources, and then it will help you. But in order to achieve those sources, how do you gather those?
Okay, great question. So there's multiple ways. And first of all, the sources you pick are obviously very important, right? Because you want to pick good sources. And you can typically find one of the good sources if you find them. You're going to typically find them on Google, on YouTube, or on Twitter. If something has got on Twitter, if it's got a lot of views, likes, shares, etc., and a lot of good comments on it, and it's probably pretty good, that's a really good sign, especially if people aren't on there saying this is really bad. If there's a great YouTube video, it looks good. Like once more, I gather those and I put them in Notebook. That's one. I'm going to show you a couple of little tricks here for rapidly learning anything. Let me share my screen. Make sure I'm sharing the right one. Right. So as I mentioned, yes, with Notebook, I got all these things. I find something, I like it. If I go here, let's just say I don't think I have this. How to use Cowork safely. There is a Chrome plugin called Notebook. Import to Notebook. LM. It's a Chrome import to Notebook. This is one of the things I'm using here. So it's free. And if I'm on a page I like, I'm like, oh, this is good. I just click here and I add it to my, where is Claude? Oh, right. Claude Notebook. I add it and boom, it will show up now as a source somewhere on here. Yeah, it'll show up as a source on how to use using Cowork safely. Cool. So that's one way I do it. As I'm gathering stuff, I use my notebook, my thing, and I just add it to this, add it to this. If you're inside Notebook and you want to look for more sources, look, you can try deep research for an in-depth report, but you can also search the web or your Google Drive. You can do fast or deep research. So I can say, Claude Cowork. I'm going to do fast research for this. Now, what it's doing is it's going to go out and it's basically searching Google for you, and it's going to pull back a big list. And then you can just check off the things you want to add to it or not. You can view it, you can check it off. So I can see there's 7 more sources. I view them. If I like, I can click this and it'll open it up. Ooh, yes, I want to add this and this, and I'm just importing them to my little knowledge bank, if you would, in here. Then, once more, I will use Notebook to create, oftentimes I'll start with a mind map, slides, right? Like I came down here. The first thing I did is I created a mind map, which shows me this. And this, I love mind maps because it gives me an overview. It gives me like what the map of the territory is. I'm like, okay, cool. And then I decide where I want to go deeper on, right? And then I can come over here and say, for instance, I started to read about Claude Cowork's sub agents. And I'm like, ooh, I want to know more about sub agents. So I found some articles on it. I dropped it in here and I came in and I asked it to create something in here about sub agents right here, mastering sub agents. So now I've got it, right? And I can just read this. So I love using Notebook for rapidly learning stuff because I can just ask it and then I can create visual representations, audio, infographics, and all this more. But there's also Gemini has an incredible way to learn anything. So if I come down here to tools and I do guided learning, Claude Cowork. Is it guided learning or is it, let me just open this one up. Visual layout, I'll show you two. So there's 2 things it can do. I'm going to open this up in 2 different side-by-sides so you can see what's happening. I want to get rid of this thing. How do I get rid of you? All right. So this is guided learning on the left. So it'll say, all right, sounds like you're interested in this. Here's a quick breakdown of what makes it different. Let's explore this new tool. Which aspect would you like to dig into first? And I just say number 3. All right. So it just knows to basically be my mentor and guide me through it, like step at a time. Here's how to understand it. Here's this. Which one sounds the most relevant to you? So I'm just typing through it, right? So it's step by step as opposed to just blasting you with a ton of things to learn. So this is a great way to, it's like a tutor. Now I'm going to stop here. I'm just going to blow this one up because I think you understand this. I really like this. So now it will create, I hope I didn't screw that up. It was just on there. I discovered this one just a couple weeks ago. It's been on there forever, but I had never really used the visual layout. So if you're a visual learner about different concepts, let's see. Hey, Walter, you said that's elegant. Were you talking about the notebook or the other stuff?
The importer, the notebook
yeah.
LM importer, that's
Yep.
beautiful.
Yep. By the way, Con, you said I can't find Claude Cowork in my Claude AI. It's not in normal Claude AI. You do have to upgrade to the, first of all, you need to be on either Pro plan or Max plan. I do not know if they made Cowork available in Pro, but when I did it a couple weeks ago, I had to upgrade to the $100 a month Max, just as an FYI. They may have changed that. So now what this gave me, this is almost like a slide deck, but it's not. Okay, here's what it is. What can Cowork do for you? It's an interactive way to learn about. I click that, but it's a very visual layout, but I love this. When I'm trying to learn about some stuff, I'm like, oh, okay, this is really cool. This is really cool. I like it. Once more, I clicked up here, which is tell me more about downloads and cleanup. So a lot of this stuff is interactive. If I click on it, it'll take me through. But this is some of the ways that I learn about this stuff. But more than anything, what I'll do is I'll tinker, I'll faffio, fart around and figure it out. So with Claudebot, I just systematically went through and I said, how do I do this? Like, all right, install it. Here we go, right? Once more, this is all, and all of these are, I can click on more if I want to learn more, which is really cool. Tell me about intelligent classification, and it does this. Now, the other thing, I think this is also going to be really important for you guys. I'm not real technical on this stuff. And when it comes to coding, I'm a very good tinker, but when it comes to using command line interface, terminal commands, etc., my sphincter puckers up and I'm like, I do not like anything about this. I am nervous. I'm going to break stuff and I don't want to break it. So I troubleshoot using Claude like all the damn time. So I did it here today. This morning I was having some issues. It wasn't working. I had to open up my command line interface and it looked like this. Right? This is my virtual private server and it's got a lot of different code and stuff. I'm like, nope, no idea what the hell this is, but Claudebot stopped working. So I came into Claude and I just said, hey, look, what do I do? It says, okay, go into your terminal and type this, and then do this. So I said, okay, after I type this, I get this. Like, I don't even know what it means. It's okay, great. Here's what that means. Here's what it means, blah, blah, blah. Here's what I did. And then it told me, it gave me a bunch of instructions once more. When I look at this, I'm like, this is Greek to me. Do this. If that doesn't work, do this. And then check for this. And I'm like, man, you're moving too quick. All I did is I took its first instruction and I said, type Claudebot, and I got this. I just pasted in what the terminal gave me. And it says, okay, great. That means it's installed. Now you need to do this. If this is your first time setting it up, do this. And I'm like, you're giving me too much instructions. Here's where I'm at now. And I just copied and pasted. That's my input. This is my output. It says, great, I see the issue. The gateway isn't configured. Let's fix it. So now it just takes me all the way through, and I was doing all of this at 8:50 this morning. I told Lauren, I was like, I can't meet yet. I'm doing some technical crap. But this is me going, hey, I don't know what. These are my choices. What do I do? And I'm sharing this with you because I want to empower you. If you feel dumb with tech and code, there's no reason to be, because you have the world's best mentor sitting by your side, telling you what to do. every step of the way. And technically, what I could have done if I didn't have that rate limiting issue on Cowork is I could have just told Cowork to look, open my browser and go fix this for me and do it for me instead of the other stuff. That's the way I think about this stuff, right? Get in there, learn the overview of what it does, how to set it up, primary use cases, etc. Play with it, test it out. If you get stuck, open up an AI browser and say, screenshots, copy paste, I'm stuck. What the hell do I do? Because all of these language models have been trained already on all the stuff that's out there. First time in human history that we're able to do this. And I don't even have to use Claude for this. Gemini knows it, ChatGPT knows it, it can walk through. I'm just happen to be using Claude. Does that help, Franco? You go, yeah, it sounds like Claude is updated to the latest tech. Is it that only Claude or other models are updated to the current day? I think, I don't know the answer to that. They might be, but above my pay grade at the moment.
Yeah, thank you so much for this. Just to remove the confusion from me, you are still going out there and finding your main sources, right? You qualify them before.
Yeah, qualify, as I said, it depends. If I find a really great post on X or Twitter, I read through it. If it makes sense, then I look at the comments and I see if other people are like, man, this is great. Yeah, it worked for me. Versus people who say, no, this is crap. It doesn't work. Yeah, that's one way I qualify it. Google can qualify it because Google only finds typically the best articles. And then I'll use AI to synthesize everything else. But that's how I learned from it. I learned more than anything just from playing.
Yeah.
I'll show you one other thing I did because I think that if I show you this, it might also help you guys understand kind of the way I think and problem solve. Because these days, as humans, problem solving is now, it's not even like what we know, et cetera. It's thinking of finding the right problems to solve and being really resourceful in how we solve them and how we use all of the tech at our disposal is at the very brief moment how we are going to, what do you call it, keep us somewhat relevant. So it's like what problems you're working on. And I'm looking for an article that I just did. I'm going to show you how to be really resourceful with this stuff. Here we go. All right. I read this article on X last night, and it says the following. Your Claudebot is probably exposed. Here's how to fix it in 15 minutes. I mean, security. So if I'm just going to scroll through this and watch, and I just want you to see, this gets super technical. Okay, the 5-minute security check. What address is your gateway listening on? Open your terminal and do this and type this and do this. And like, it's getting fairly technical. And it'll say, if you're on Mac, do this. If you're on Windows, do this. If you're in a cloud server, do this. If it's on your main computer, do that. I'm like, wow, man, this is way too much for my little brain to handle. So what I did in Claude, I clicked on this little guy here, right, which opens up a chat about it. And I can now use Claude to chat with this article. I did that over here. And I said this. Okay, help me understand this. I run this on an AWS server and I have a Mac. Please customize these instructions for me. Okay. So then it says, all right, for you, like I'm just going to throw away all the other crap. Here's what you should do. Then you should do this. Then you should do this, etc. Then I asked Grok, can you find any issues or wrong advice here? So I don't know if this guy is credible in what he's telling me to do. And he's asking me to make a bunch of changes to my code. I have no idea what he's doing. So it says, after reviewing it and cross-referencing details from Claudebot's official GitHub, which confirms this, there's a few issues. So, issue, partial mismatch with the device on firewalls, correction, issue, why wrong, correction, SSH. So it's what it's showing you is not as important as I think showing you what I did to validate the sources that I don't understand. You write a regular article about what it does, I can understand it. You give me code base, I don't know what. So I was like, dumb this down for me in my specific condition, and then check this against what you know. And I would probably, before I did anything else, I would probably take it to Claude AI and say, hey, here's what I'm thinking about doing and why, etc. please let me know if this thing is correct or if it needs any checking. Does that make sense? Because I think what I'm telling you here is super important, because this is the kind of stuff as humans in the loop we still need to be doing, especially when it gets technical and if it's beyond your understanding. Now, if I have a webmaster who's really good at this, I just give it to him or her. If I don't, I got to figure it out myself. But it should, what I'm showing you here should really empower you between this going, I don't know nothing about nothing, and help me figure this out for me. I'm dumb. I'm a monkey with a computer. Help me push the right buttons. So now my next step is I'm going to push this to its limits. I'm going to test out. I've got a whole process. I've talked to you guys about this before, about taking an idea for a custom GPT, right? Or multiple. And my goal, this is one of the first things I'm going to do some real agentic tests on. Here's some general ideas, or here's who my market is, whatever. Create the ideas, pick the best ones, go create the GPT instructions and knowledge base for them, save those on my file, go into my chat GPT and create the custom GPT, go into my pickaxe and create the custom GPT there, go into this other program that I've got to follow these skills to create the sales page, the sales copy, the landing page, the emails, the launch sequence, a Facebook ad, and an image. And then send me an email when it's done and what to go test, right? So if I can do that, I know I can do that, but I just now have to think out the process, because all it has to do is it has to connect to the things I want it to connect to, whether it's browser access or not. And it has to follow my instructions and not run out of tokens. And I just want to see if I can give it a concept and have it go from concept to damn near production ready, hands off. That's my goal. I will let you guys know if I'm able to do that by next week or not. But that's how I'm thinking through this. And then, once more, all of these capabilities are shifting the way I'm thinking about my business, going, number one, what are the repetitive tasks I currently take in my business personally on my computer? Every day I do this, or every week I do that. And then I start to think through what is the repetitive task that me and or a team member or team members would do, and how can I process this out so that one system with multiple sub-agents can do all of them and then just give it to me to review. So that's why this is where I'm trying to wrap my brain around to solve problems at a much, much deeper level. And if your brain is hurting from this class, good. Welcome to my damn world. My brain hurts all the time from learning this stuff. It is constant. It's, once more, toolphoria. It is headaches from, my God, I can't keep up. This is getting more technical. I just learned this thing. Now I got to learn this, et cetera, et cetera. But then balanced with excitement of, oh crap, look what I can do now. AI was supposed to give us our time back. It's done the opposite. It's unleashed my creativity. But my wife gets mad at me all the time. It's funny because I can't watch TV anymore without my phone up here. And she'll think that I'm scrolling Facebook and doing mindless scrolling. And she's like, honey, can we just watch TV when you get off your phone? And I'm like, honey, I'm telling my employees that I'm coding agents and I'm doing all this other stuff over here while I'm coming up with ideas and I'm giving it to my agent, literally. And she's like, all right, fine. It better make us some money if you're going to ignore me while we're watching TV. The struggle is real. But if I leave you with anything, it's like focus on the stuff that matters. And then, because if you can get this stuff to offload it, even better. And even better than that is if you can hire an employee, an assistant, or a consultant who can come in and do this stuff for you, even better. Because if you're running the business, you may or may not have time to do all these things. And that's okay. That's what people like myself are here for. That's what AI powered employees and contractors are for. So the options are out there for you. Man. All right. How did I do in this? Once more, I am teaching you guys something I'm barely scratching the surface on myself. And I'm hoping I did a good job of explaining it to you. Stuff that I'm still learning. Thank you, Melanie. Is anybody out there, are you guys going to go try Cowork at least? Is anybody like, oh yeah, I'm going to go try this out? Cool. Report back to me. Let me know. It's fun. People on X are sharing stuff all the time the way they're using it. Claudebot, which is now called Molt. I will send you information if you want to jump in there and start to play with it like I did. I warn you, do not start to play with it until you've got a little window of some time, because if you're like me, you will become obsessed. You'll probably get it set up in 30 minutes to an hour. And then you'll start to play with it like, oh my God, this is super cool. And then you maybe hit a snag and you're like, I got things to do, but I can't stop playing with this because it's so cool. So I just warn you, block off your schedule. All right, if we don't have any other questions, wait, we got some stuff in the chat. I'll make sure I get to these before I ping out. Thank you, definitely overwhelming. Awesome. You did Grok. Yeah, Franco, you said a couple things. You did it in Grok just because it was the one that came up. Yeah, so the reason I checked that out in Grok is because it was an article on Grok. So I just hit the little Grok button to say, here, analyze this article, because it was way easier than taking it from one to the other. I just hit Grok and did that. That I was there, so I used it. Walter, this was especially awesome session and so much to run out and implement. Yep. Jeffrey, I just downloaded Cowork and look forward to it. Killer. Keep me posted. Post in there. Post any wins. Post any questions. And Melanie, you got your hand raised.
All right. It's not really on the same thing. It's a win and then an extension of that. So a while back, you had us pick our Dream 100, like search our Dream 100. So I did it for Texas and Utah, and we just closed a $90,000 deal from a guy from that list. So I thought that was pretty cool. It's a variety of different services that we put in there. And then, so my question is, I found like the speaker forum, it's the National Speakers Bureau, I think it is, and they have a whole list of all their speakers. And I went to say, hey, make me a list of these people, find out who has a book and who doesn't have a book, make me a list, but it's on Airtable. They're like, we can't access the Airtable. So type up the list. I'm like, I don't want to type up the list. That's what I've got you for. So I don't know how to do that.
Wait, so, but the how to do, wait, so you talk about not knowing how to access Airtable?
So there is a list on the Speaker Bureau's platform on their website of all their speakers. And it's and it says it's by Airtable. So I asked ChatGPT, hey, and I asked, I think Claude too, take all these people from the website, like here's the link to the website, and I would like you to make me a list of them, put them in a spreadsheet, people who have books, people who don't have books. And they're saying, we can't get into the Airtable to make the list of the people.
Oh, interesting. So it depends. I don't know if you know where that list is online. Unless it's here. Let me just share my screen. If you have a link to that, let me know.
Yeah.
This doesn't look like Airtable. I don't think this is Airtable.
Yeah, it's National Speakers Association. Let me get to their find a speaker page. They have a CSP directory. Let's see.
Association or Bureau?
It's association. NSAS.
This one here. Okay. Find a speaker, maybe directory. This one?
Yeah, find a speaker. Yeah, mine's not opening for some reason. Maybe it's directory profile.
This looks like Airtable. Yep, this is Airtable here.
Yeah. Okay. So I want it to make me a list, put it in a spreadsheet, or even just a written list that I can put into a spreadsheet, but it's telling me can't access that.
Give me a sec. I want to try something here real quick. Create a copy of this data in Airtable where you can build on it. Yeah. Now you can actually download, you can basically duplicate this whole thing to your own file.
Did you
So,
go?
So what I did, do you have an Airtable account? You can create a free account.
Okay.
So you'll create a free Airtable account.
Okay.
And what I did is I clicked use this data up here. So once you're logged in, you just come use this data, choose a workspace. I'm just going to call it archive. Why not?
Can you share your screen, Brad? I can't see your screen.
I thought it was the whole time. Hold on. Can anybody else see my screen? Yeah, I'm sharing my screen. You're just not on it. Can you see it?
No.
Let me reshare. Sometimes it can get lost.
I can see all there it goes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I was over here, first of all. It says view now. Okay, so then I clicked, so if I click in here, I can see all this. Now, if I click use this data, it asked,
Uh-huh.
because I was logged out, it asked me to either create an account or log in. So I just logged into my own account. So I
Okay.
say, let's put this in my archive, choose a base, create a new base, create table. Whoop. See if it pulled it in. All right, now I got the whole list in my own Airtable account.
Man, that's awesome. Okay.
Airtable is killer. You guys haven't used Airtable. It's a really great kind of database. And it's like a database meets, if you guys use Notion, you'll understand this, but a database meets a spreadsheet. So it looks like a spreadsheet here, but I can click into it and add a lot more stuff and make it like Airtable's a whole amazing tool that can do a lot of stuff. But for, in essence, like database management, automations, a lot of different stuff. I haven't even looked at it in a while, but yep. So now that's all you got to do is just go to this website. I'm going to drop this in the chat if you don't already have it, Miss Melanie.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't have that.
Yeah, and you're just going to want to click use this data.
Okay.
Yep. And then you got a copy.
Yay. Thank you. And then I can just take that and put it back into AI and say, research these people and see if they have a book or not.
Yeah, realistically, you could probably do it here.
In the Airtable?
Yeah, I don't know how, but you probably can.
Okay.
So if I said when a form is submitted, let me just see what this does. What's my action here? Create an action, which is generate text, generate structured. This is generate stuff. They have a lot of different little automations behind the scenes, but it might be better to just give access, maybe GenSpark access to your Airtable and have it go do the things. But you can also take this and you can export this as a CSV file or whatever you want.
Yeah,
Yep,
perfect.
that works. Any other
Thank
questions
you.
before we go?
Thank you.
My pleasure. Any other questions before we head out? Don't think so. Franco, wondering if Claude started debugging this browser uses tokens. I think it all uses tokens, so probably. All right, kids, let you go.